Hello everyone, it's Benny, and welcome back to the Wolfenstein 3D clone tutorial. In this video, we're going to be implementing animation for the monster. Hopefully we're going to be giving the player an actual physical gun to look at, and pretty much be getting really close to actually wrapping everything up. So, first off, I'm going to go to the monster class, and I'm going to create a animation. It's going to be an array list of textures. And this is going to be pretty straightforward. Every different texture in this, in this array list, is going to be a different frame of the animation. And yeah, nothing too fancy there. And it's static because it's going to be the same for every single one. So, yeah, I'm going to keep material the same for now. But, I'm actually going to comment this line out, and I'm just going to go right here. I'm just going to do the same test I did for mesh, except with animations. So if this is null, then we're going to actually create it. So, first one, we're going to just need to set it to a new array list of textures. But afterwards, we're going to need to start actually adding things. So I'm going to add, I'm just going to start off by adding a new texture with that. Not a new texture with the first frame of the animation. And I'm just going to copy and paste, and I'm going to add every single one. So first off, A, B, C, D, that's the walking animation. And then from here, there's E0, which is the first, E, F, and G. Those are the firing animations, if I remember correctly. There's H, which is the pain animation, which I don't actually think I'm going to use, but I'll put it there anyways. And then finally, I, J, K, L, and M. I, J, K, L, and M, which are the dying and the death animation. So, after all this, I'm just going to, after this, in fact, let's just move all of this to after I've initialized everything statically, because, just want everything initialized statically first. And also so that I can say right here, the material is going to equal a new material, and the texture is going to be animations.get0. So there. And now this should run just fine, as is, if everything worked out correctly. Okay, cool. It's the guy the monster, we can there we go, we can shoot him, and he can die. Everything's still working, but now we have our big list of animation. So cool, that's step one. Now I'm going to start going through every single update phase and adding animation code to it, and that's going to be the next part of this. So for the idle update, this should be pretty easy. We should just be able to do, material.setTexture animations.get0 in here, and then, actually, I'm going to change this. First off, I'm going to set this to 1, and then I'm going to put this in a big gigantic if-can-look block, because I always wanted to change texture, and this will give him just a very basic 1-2 animation when he's looking for us. So if I run, he should be giving up. He was doing it. It's just, we didn't get really to see it very much, but that's fine. So yeah, excellent, animation's working. Now I'm going to implement something very similar right here. So I'm going to copy this and move it to the chase update. For pretty much just for animation. I could refactor this at this point, but, I'm not going to bother. I'm just not going to bother at this point. So, here, going to just do very basic. I'm just going to do a very basic if-else block. Nothing fancy. I just really want, to get this done, so, there. And so, I'm just dividing time decimals into, blocks of 0.25 seconds. And in here, I'm going to set it to 0, 1, 2, and 3, depending on what part of time we're in. And that should give him a very basic walking animation when he's actually chasing us. So if I run, so yeah, he's got a walking animation. Except of course when he's actually shooting at us. So cool. We've got walking animation. Excellent. And whoops, didn't want to do that. You can go away. So now attack. This one, I'm again going to refactor this if attack here. So if can attack. For the same reason of the idle update, I want to use this for animation. I want animation to be sort of integrated with this whole, well yeah, with this system right here. With my logic, that's what I'm looking for. I knew I was looking for some word. But anyways, so I'm gonna, again, change this to blocks of, well, divide this by blocks of 0.25. Just because, well, I personally found that it looks relatively nice when you do it like that. If you don't like that, you can fiddle with these values all you like. But, well, I'm not going to. So there. And where is it? Aha. So now that I've got all these, I'm going to start actually animating it. So I'm going to go ahead and paste these in here. And there. Also, you can move this can attack right here to just about anywhere you want. It's just, I'm putting it here just because that's where I had it. Hopefully that shouldn't screw anything up. So now, yeah. I think the attack animation should go 4, 5. This should be him pulling the gun out. This should be him actually aiming at us. 6 should be him firing. Then I'm going to go back to 5, so it's just his gun pointing at us after the big gun flash. At least that's the idea. So, now let's see what happens. So now he's moving, and hey! So he's moving, and he's shooting at us. He's not always firing. There. He's sometimes firing at us. I actually think this is a little bit weird, so I'm going to move this can attack to this else clause right here. In fact, in fact, you know what? Nah. Yeah, I'm gonna see how this works. So, come on. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of fiddling this episode. So he's moving towards us. Come on, shoot us. There we go. So he's moving and shooting. Okay? There. So that's got, well, most of our major animations thing set up. I'm gonna change this because of OCD and whatnot. But now we just need dying and dead. And these will be slightly trickier. They won't be too bad, but they'll be slightly trickier. In fact, you know what? Let's do dead first. So I'm just going to say, instead of print we're dead, I'm going to change this to, let's see, what would it be? Well, let's find out. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Cool, 12. So I should, where is it? There we go. Set this to 12. Whoops, yeah, 12. And that should be him actually dead. So now I'm just going to run in and gun him down. No dawdling, no waiting for him to shoot us, just die. Not quite what we're looking for, but that's fine. We can play with the scaling values after this, which we're going to do, but yeah. So there. Now, for this next part, we're going to need to be setting the scale of the transform to various values to match the texture proportions. Kind of like, where is it? Where we actually created the mesh? Wherever that was. Right here. Where we set size X and size X to some ridiculous equation value to match the proportions of the monster size. we're going to need to do the same thing here, except with using the scale rather than the actual mesh, in order to make the mesh match the size of our texture. So, yeah, we don't really have much of an animation system going on here, but anyways. And the reason I bring this up right now is because, as you've seen, I've copied and pasted these because I don't have these ridiculous values memorized. So I'm just going to be copying them from my finished code, and you can either copy from the source code, or you can write it out if you like. But, yeah, the way I got these values is the same way I got the one up there. I took the... what's it called? I took the ratios of the width and height, and I think I divided it by the ratios I have here. I'm not entirely sure on that, but either way, I calculated them mathematically, and that's how I got these values. So now, let's implement the dying state. So first off, I'm going to create a new variable, because we're going to be doing an animation similar to how we did in the door class with very basic keyframes. So we have some private double called defTime. And this .defTime equals 0. And here's what I'm going to do in dying update. First off, I'm actually going to copy these values, just like before. So, and I'm going to say if defTime is 0, then defTime equals time. There. So now we've initialized our defTime. And I'm going to do Keyframe Animation, and I'm, again, just going to copy these values from over there because I don't have them memorized. I've found them from fiddling around, and well, yeah. So this is my original code, and I'm just going to copy these time values. So, yeah. And these are all the different time values we can use for animation. Time 1, 2, 3, they're for all the different frames of animation. Nothing fancy here. And, well, so now I'm going to do the big giant if-else clause. So if defTime is less than defTime plus time 1, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to, do one thing. Otherwise, I'm going to do the same check, except plus time 2. Then I can do some other thing. And then pretty much all the way down the line, just like this. If it's less than time 3, I'm going to do some other thing. If it's less than time 4, I'm going to do some other thing. And finally, finally I'll just... oh yeah, and finally I'll go to the dead state. So there. We've got our big, gigantic if-else statement system of death. And now we can actually start implementing the animation. So, I'm going to just start here. And I'll say 7 because we're skipping 6. Wait. No, 8 because we're skipping 7, excuse me. And the actual materials themselves are just going to be incrementing, so 8, 9, 10, and 11. Just like that. And now we should get an actual def animation, even if things don't scale at all. So yeah, let's start shooting. And he's not dying. Okay. Well, there's a problem. And it was a lot simpler than I thought it would be. Just compare defTime to time and not itself. That makes a little bit more sense. And now we should get the actual def animation. And yeah, I can actually go ahead and get rid of these messages saying we hit the monster and whatnot. It's become self-evident with the actual animation. So where's the thing in damage? Oh, you know what? I'll just not bother. Yeah, I can get rid of that. Okay, whatever. The whole thing I'm trying to do here is to actually test it, so let's actually test it. Alright. So let's start gunning him down, and we should see a very distorted def animation. Yeah, just like that. So now, like I said, I'm going to go over to my original code, and I'm going And I'm going to just copy the values pretty much verbatim because I don't have them memorized. So yeah. These two are easy because they actually end up being the same. There's 1.7 and 0.9. But, whoops, that's my recording setup. Sorry about that. And... am I missing a state? Oh no, I copied the wrong one. That makes more sense. There. So these are the values. If you really want to write them out, pause. Otherwise, you can get them from GitHub. And let's run. We should have now a fully animated monster. So I should be able to gun him down. And... you know, it does seem slightly off, but I'm honestly not going to worry about it. It's good enough, and I'm honestly really, really happy with the way this is turning out. And actually, while I'm at it, I'm going to do this one more time, just because I like gunning this guy down over and over again. Yeah. Okay. Is that in level where I did that? Let's get rid of this. I actually really want to find that. Yeah. There we go. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Let's get rid of all the unnecessary messages. And let's make sure I don't have any debugging messages left in here before we move on to the player, where we're actually going to show a gun. And there, gunned him down. Okay, so first off, we're going to want to go to the monster, and I want to copy the mesh code, because we're going to need pretty much the same thing we have for the monster to actually get, well, a gun mesh for the player. So the player's going to have his own mesh for the gun, and I'm just going to copy the code, verbatim. Nothing special, just verbatim. And put it right here. If mesh is null, I'm going to set it to that. And I'm going to copy the values. I will need to actually, well, yeah, okay, I'll just copy all this. I will need to actually, what's it called? Looking for something here. Yes. Oh, right, and texture coordinates. I'm going to need to copy these too. And actually, I believe these have the exact same values as with the monster. So, yeah, I don't think you'll need to change the offsets here. But as I was saying something, dagnabbit. Oh well, I'll remember it later, and if not, oh well. Oh right, and actually need to copy the texture coordinates. So, again, just copy verbatim from the monster. And yeah, this definitely could use some code reuse. I already have that noted in my notes, though, so I'm not going to put it in again. But yeah. So now we have all this, but we will need to change the constant here. And again, I don't have these ridiculous constants memorized. Again, it's calculated from the width of the gun's texture to over the height of the gun texture. But again, I don't have that ratio memorized. So I'm going to go to my old code, which somewhere over here. Aha. Here's the value, right here. This is the number I'm looking for. 1.03797, something ridiculous. So there. And that should give me the size X. So, other than that, I'm just going to need some... yeah. It can be static, why not? Private static material called gun material, why not? And if gun material is null, same sort of check we've done so many times over. It's going to be initialized to new material with a new texture. And I believe the texture is pizga0.png. I'm going to double check that to make sure. pizb, excuse me. Wait, or is it pizga0? Whoops. Put the B in the wrong place. So there. And I'm also going to need some, not static, but I will need a private transform called gun transform. And that's going to just be a new transform. This is going to be where the gun is placed, where we draw the gun in the world, because, as we all know, we don't have sprite support, meaning, unfortunately, we're going to have to hack this one as well. So yeah, lots of copying and pasting here, lots of moving code around, which really should be, what's the word? Well, really should be reused with a polymorphism or something, inheritance, some object-oriented thing. But again, it's not really easy in the way we have the engine set up right now. So again, we have another architecture problem. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. So now, in the you know what, how about this? It's a new transform with a new position of 770. And new vector 3f000, new vector 3f111. There. Cannot be applied. What? Okay, how about this? I'll copy it from the level then, because I'm pretty sure I'm setting that to something, yes. Okay. You know what, yeah, I'll do it like that. I apparently don't have a constructor for that, but oh well. So I'll just set the translation to, yeah, this. New vector 3f. I want to do 0707. And I just want to see if that actually draws anything, which it shouldn't, because I forgot to actually call, well, actually draw it. So let's go ahead and do that. Let us go to render. In fact, I can probably copy this from Monster, just like everything else I've been doing. So let's scroll all the way down to the rendering code. Copy, and just change this to gun transform, because our player itself doesn't need rendering. Change the material to call it gun material. Okay. I'll call it gun material then. And that should actually draw something. So let's run, and let's see what happens. Okay, cool. We've got a gun that's being drawn. It's not drawn like we would like it. We'd like to see, actually drawn in front of us. But we've got something that's drawn. That's step one. Now, we're actually almost done here. We really just need the gun facing the player and always staying at the player's position. And once we get that, we're pretty much golden. We're done. But one thing I want to say is I went ahead and corrected that to-do off-screen, so the movement vector.length was greater than 0, then we move. So I went ahead and finished that to-do. Now, to make the gun, whoops, actually, before I do that, I'll just put a section here that says gun movement. Just so our player movement and gun movement are semi-separated. Not fully, but yeah. Now I'm going to do the same sort of check I did right here, which with the monster, to make the gun actually stay always facing us. So I'm going to copy that, and well, I'm going to get the direction to camera right here. So there. And now I can just change this to gun transform. I know this should be refactored, but I've said that the whole series. I think I said it enough at this point. So now, at the very least, the gun should always stay facing us. Oh. And I forgot to change this back, but I was playing with things off-screen, and I changed the scale down to 0.1. So, yeah, sorry about that. But yeah. So now, other than that, we want to actually put the gun at a reasonable location. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, pretty simply, gun transform dot set translation. I'm going to set that translation to camera dot get position, but there's a twist to it. Rather than just setting this, I want it to be in front of us. So I'm going to set it to our position times something. And that something is going to be camera dot get forward. Wait, yeah, not times something, plus something, excuse me. I want to add camera.getForward times some constant, which I believe I set to 0.105 f. I could be wrong about that, and if not, I'll look at it off screen. But let's see what happens. And okay, it appears like something's happened. Not quite what I intended, but it looks like something's happened. Let's try 0.10. You know what? Yeah. I'll go ahead and collect the constants off screen, and I'll be right back. And okay, I've got the constants I need. And for one, this is actually correct. So I'm not going to bother with that for now, but I am going to create one more constant. It's going to be a final float. And this is going to be the offset. This is going to be how much we actually offset so the gun's aligned with the bottom of the screen. and that's going to be this. I went ahead and copied it off screen, so yeah, it's negative 0.1325. And that's the gun offset. So, and to actually implement this, it's pretty simple. All I do, gun transform dot set we're going to get the translation, and we're going to set the Y position to what our current Y position is, so get translation dot get Y, and we're going to add the offset. And one more thing I forgot to do, for the forward, I actually want to normalize this. That shouldn't be an issue, but I just want to make 100% sure that it isn't an issue. And now, finally, I should be able to run. Well, and see something, hey, remotely meaningful. It's not quite perfect yet. It's slightly offset from the center of the screen. I think I actually will need a little bit of offsetting here. So yeah, that's where the center of the screen is. So it's definitely not pointing at the center. And yeah. So you know what? Actually, I'm not going to bother doing that on screen. I'm going to play around with the constants off screen. And I'll see you in a moment. And these are the values I ended up with. I ended up with negative 0.0875 f for the gun offset, and with 0.0625 f for the scale. And there's actually a slight bug right now, and I'm trying to show it to you. So yeah, see? It's much better. It's not perfectly aligned with the center just yet, but that's fine. But yeah, you see this? The gun is drawing over top of the monster. And that's just because transparency is order dependent, and well, we're drawing the monsters after we're drawing the player. So let's change that around a bit. Let's make the monsters draw before the player. And let's run again. And at this point, we should be able to just gun him down, and he goes down, and we can draw this thing over the monster all we want, and everything works out. So excellent, we have a gun. Doesn't have a fire, or an actual, bang coming out of it, but is a gun, and it shows us what we're shooting at. And unfortunately, that's all the time I have for today. But tomorrow, or Friday rather, it's the big day. It's the finale. It's when we're done. It's when we are finally finished with every part of the Wolfenstein 3D clone tutorial. It's when we'll have everything done. We'll have levels and stuff. We'll have levels that can contain everything. We'll have medikits. We'll have, we'll finish everything. I'll leave it at that. And it's going to be awesome. So, hope you enjoyed, hope you learned, and hope you're ready for the big finale, featuring everything we haven't done yet, and a few surprises. See you then.